What's up, YouTube? KnivesEdge here again. Got another little quick review for you of a Spyderco. I know it's been a while since I reviewed a new Spyderco to the collection, but I had this one for a little while. Got a chance to carry it around, and I wanted to make sure I carried it enough to kind of give my full thoughts on it and everything. Got this in a trade from Mr. Eddie for some other knives I had. Definitely go check him out on Instagram. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and every little like, every subscribe, all that helps. I really appreciate everybody that watches the video, especially if you watch all the videos. It means a lot. And if you're a member of the Patreon, if you're interested in Patreon, man, I sure do appreciate everybody that's a member of that. It helps the channel out. Everything that's put in the Patreon is definitely used for shipping and trying to get up to the point where I can get some knives and stuff with it. But definitely appreciate everybody that's in that. So without further ado, this is the new, well, not new, new to me, Spyderco Sliverax. Pretty cool knife. It is in fact a flipper Spyderco. So don't see very many of those around out in the wild, not quite sure what other Spydercos are flippers off the top of my head. But yeah, this is a pretty curious, neat little knife. Got a lot of pros and cons about it. I'm going to get into that here in just a minute. Before I do, I'm going to go ahead and get all the specs out of the way. Alright, so you got overall length from the tip of the blade to the end of the handle here. You're looking right at 8 inches. So what I would call right at a full-size knife there for sure. Blade length, if you go all the way back here, to where that meets up with the handle, with the kind of whatever that little choil area, I don't know what you want to call it, meets up with the handle. You're looking right around 3 5/8. Cutting edge overall is just a hair over 3.5. Yeah, maybe like 3 9/16 on the cutting edge on that. Get the calibers out here. Make sure they're zeroed. So you look at the stock, what you'll see is it's not like an especially thick knife, but it's not really super slicey either. Go ahead and look under it, behind the edge. Let me take a look there. 22 thousandths there. Handle thickness, just under 1/2 inch. So, kind of a little on the thin side, but I mean, either way, it's a good, just like most knife handles, it will definitely do the trick, not too super thick, doesn't stick out super thick, super thin, anything like that. So let's get out size comparisons here. Got the Cold Steel Knives AD10, all right, and the Demco Knives AD15. So you can see it's definitely a lot smaller than the AD10, although cutting edge really might almost have the AD10 beat there with cutting edge. But size-wise, it's definitely nowhere near as big, bulky, or broad as the AD10, and definitely a little bigger than the AD15. Put those up. Get out the Spyderco. A couple of brothers there. Spyderco PM2, Spyderco Pair 3. So that's if you're in the Spyderco community, you don't have a Sliverax, that will definitely give you kind of an idea of the size of it, right? So kind of right around PM2 size with overall length. But essentially it's like the PM2 but without the finger choil. If the finger choil was converted into cutting edge as far as the blade length goes. Now that's where a lot of the similarities end. It does have the Spidey hole and it does have the compression lock just like the PM2 and Pair 3. But a lot of other differences here too. And last but not least, Ontario Rat Model 1 and Ontario Rat Model 2. And while I'm thinking about it, you can see it's definitely closer to the size of the Rat 1. Let me get out, let's see, one more Spidey here. It's another Tai Chung Spyderco. Do a size comparison with this bad boy real quick. Now this is one of my favorite knives of all time. Definitely one of my favorite Spydercos. That is the Kapara. So that is it next to the Kapara. In case anybody's wondering, would highly recommend the Kapara over this one. and I'll go into some of those reasons here in a minute, but that's just a comparison between those two. Just in case anybody was wondering, they're both Tai-Chung Spydercos, both great knives. But I would definitely give the edge over the Kapara over the Sliverax for sure. So anyway, got all the size comparisons out of the way. Let's go ahead and we'll get into the weights. And it does feel fairly light, especially for having, almost, definitely larger than 3.5 inch cutting edge, or 3.5 inch, larger than 3.5 inch blade. So you can see there, if I put the scale in the right spot, that it is well under the ounce and inch ratio, right? So it's only 3.4 ounces. Now a lot of that is thanks to the peel ply carbon fiber that is over the G10 there. And I'll get into my feelings about that, but that is one thing that is good about it, is it is lightweight for sure. All right, so let's do what's it look like in the pocket. You got the wire clip. I always love Spyderco's wire clip. Kapara also has that. Really like that. To me, they could have kind of deleted that lanyard hole. Got rid of that. I don't really care for lanyards too much, and moved it up some. But I mean, it's really not that bad. It's a little small, bit sticking out. Not that much. So, and that wire clip is always love that wire clip. No issues there whatsoever. So let's get out. Well, Torx driver here. Do a hardware check on this bad boy. And I think this is a T8. All right. I'll look at it too. T8. So T8 on the pivot, T8 on the body, and that is also your clip screw, right? So T8 on that too. And this is reversible, right? So if you want to lefty this, you can do that. Although it's not essentially one of their most lefty-friendly knives. You would have to, after you flick it out, you'd have to essentially pull back and push over like that. I don't know. So to me, it wouldn't be one of the more lefty-friendly knives in the Spyderco arsenal. And it's not a captive pivot, so that's a bummer there. But other than that, all T8 hardware on it, that's a good thing. All right, so got all the specs out of the way. My full thoughts on this thing is they could have done, I don't know, man. They could have done a couple of things a little bit better, in my opinion. It's not a horrible knife. I guess the pros, on it would be lightweight. The flipper works pretty good, didn't have to give it any wrist there, right? Flipper works pretty good. You have to give it kind of a stronger flip. It's not like it's definitely not one you can just, because you can fail it for sure. And it's running on bearings, by the way. It's not running on phosphor bronze, but it does the flipping action. There's not really anything wrong there. In my opinion, I would get rid of the flipper tab myself. It's kind of, to me, in the way, I've never really been the biggest fan of flipper tabs, although there are some really awesome, knives out there with flipper tabs. But it is pretty cool they put one on a Spyderco, I guess, But you can just as well flick it open, using the Spidey flick, and you can use the thumb hole for a thumb hole, right? Spidey hole is a thumb hole there. So, take that for what it's worth. It is pretty cool that it's a flipper. That's a cool thing. It's in a good steel, S30V, a steel that Spyderco does very well because they've done a lot of it. It is out of the Tai-Chung Taiwan factory, as I mentioned earlier, and a lot of their best fit and finished Spydercos are out of that. One cool thing about it, that I will say good about it, is that compression lock. Like a lot of people complain on the Shaman that nub, which in this case, the flipper tab, hits your finger whenever you disengage that lock, right? So with this one, you squeeze it close, and it swings up, but it misses your finger because this is so wide. You have quite a good area there comparatively, right? You have quite a larger area there and a lower down, I guess you would call it, more towards the butt end of the knife where you're disengaging that, right? So if you come up here, it'll swing back and hit your finger, right? But you also have the option, if you get used to opening and closing it a lot, when you close it there, it will completely miss your finger, So that's a cool thing, It's good that they did that, so it doesn't constantly come back up and hit your finger, So, I'm gonna cut my little mat there. But let's see, downsides on this one. I don't really prefer. Now, some people may love the ergonomics. I really, ergonomically, as far as the grip, doesn't feel too bad. Really, honestly, you're locked in there, because of this drastic curve down plus the flipper tab. It's almost like a finger guard, right? So you are locked in there. But I don't like how this thing points down like this. It's almost like a banana or something. It's weird. Don't really prefer that myself. And I also, if I want to choke up on a knife, I would, like I said, prefer this flipper tab maybe gone and kind of a little flat there maybe or something. I do like to choke up a lot. And with this one, if you choke up, you're going up here with your middle finger. You can't, right? You can't choke up on it really and grab it. So choke back pretty much on this one's like this, and choked up is like this. So, that's kind of a bummer there. No jimping on the spine. It is, it's pretty smooth. I don't see where it really needs it too much. The main thing that I dislike about this one personally, me, is this Peel Ply carbon fiber. It's a carbon fiber sticker essentially over G10. Now no danger of it peeling off. I don't. It's plenty solid, and when it gets wet, it does get grippy and stuff. But I really don't like that texture that much. I would much rather just have the G10, or like the Capara, full on carbon fiber would be really nice. But yeah, so I mean, I would say as far as Spydercos go, this one probably is in the lower end of the had to cut out for a second, but long story short, and I think I was getting towards the end of it anyway. Of the flagship Spydercos, the ones that will run you, I don't know, 120, 130 plus, I would rate this one kind of in the lower end. I think they are being discontinued. It's not a terrible knife. I will link it down below if anyone's interested. It is definitely, if you want a flipper that is a Spyderco, and if if you're into this completely locked in and downward sloping kind of blade there, it might be for you. And I'll probably will carry this again in the future. I'm not getting rid of it. It's a Spyderco, and I collect them. So, but all in all, I would point to a lot of other way better Spydercos than this one. It does have its perks, but not really one of their best. So that's pretty much it, guys. I appreciate y'all watching the video. Sorry again about having to cut out and everything. I'll try to edit that kind of as best as I can, although it'll probably be pretty obvious. But anyway, I'll link it down in the description if anyone's interested. If it's KnivesShipFree, BladeHQ, or GPKnives, it'll be an affiliate link. So just a heads up on that. It does help the channel out if you use an affiliate link, but I'm not gonna lie and say a knife is awesome just so you will. So there's that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate everyone that again subscribe to the channel, like the video as a Patreon. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one.